Afternoon. Now before we start, I want to kindly thank UK Rob M for buying us a cuppa since last week's video and the week before. It is always appreciated. Until this cat gets a job, it's definitely appreciated. Indeed. Now, one of the reasons I review films from the 60s, 70s and 80s is because they're generally better. There's also another reason, and that reason is the people involved in the film probably won't see the review because they either can't use computers or they're dead. When I've started reviewing British films from the last 20 odd years to see if they've got any better, they haven't. So imagine my shock when I looked into the comments of Power Tool Cheerleaders vs Boy Band of the Undead to find that the lead actress had indeed watched the review, defending the film and saying that I just simply didn't like musicals, which is true and a fair point. So, this week, this streaming ear has found another film to see if we can redress the balance slightly. And that film is Hellriser. Hellriser is named for people who are either dyslexic trying to find Hellraiser or too pissed trying to find Hellraiser and end up watching this film from 2017 instead. The film is about a detective who's got 8 murders to solve, with a 9th one coming and possibly a 10th. And he gets paired up with some young whippersnapper, a female detective. We've not seen this before. The film is directed by Steve Lawson, who made Ship of the Damned last week, and stars Charlie Bond, the lead actress from Power Tool Cheerleaders vs Boy Band of the Undead, the one who made the comment. So, do 2 wrongs make a right when they meet in this film? There's only one way to find out. Will they solve the murders? Will we see Hellraiser? Calm down. Will they solve the murders? Will there be any bedroom twister? Will it be any good? Let's find out. The film starts with the opening titles. A fella pulls up in a car and a nice young lady leans in. Maybe he needs directions.
I've heard people only start their cars around here for one reason.
I know, love.
So, what's it gonna be? I don't do any of that funny stuff, by the way. Not unless you're willing to pay.
Lock, Detective Inspector, Vice Squad.
Shit.
Wait, you're not in trouble.
Given the state of our police nowadays, I wouldn't be so sure.
We've found 7 bodies this month. All of them brutally murdered, dismembered, and left on street corners where anybody could find them. All within a 5-mile radius.
Why would anyone do that?
Something tells me whoever's responsible for these multiple murders isn't going to be who's responsible for these things in real life, anyway. He then gets a call saying that an 8th body has been found, so he gives the prostitute a Bible and goes off on his way. I wonder if he's going to end up with a sidekick called Detective Key. That'd be funny. It'd also be very silly. The prostitute, however, doesn't take his advice to go home and be safe. I'm sure she'll be fine. Maybe not. Detective Locke arrives at the crime scene, and despite all the flashing lights and all the sirens, it's really quite quiet. Bizarre, really.
Any idea of the time of death?
What do you think? She's a bleeding dog's dinner under there. I won't know anything till I get her back to the lab. Who's the girl?
Can I help you?
And you are?
Locke, Detective Inspector.
Great. Terry Keys.
Oh, fuck off. I was only joking earlier.
Ever been on a murder case before?
No, sir.
Right. Our colleague here's only just arrived. Do me a favour, will you lift that sheet? Just let her examine the remains.
Two detectives who hate each other who've only just met. We've not seen this before. Somehow I don't think Key is going to be going into lock, although given that she's called Key and he's the lock, that would be very weird. Anyway, moving on.
Excuse me. I just have to get this.
Keys gets a call from her boss, her female boss. How very progressive. I'm sure that'll end well for them all. Turns out she's been put with Locke to keep an eye on him.
Too early to tell. He seems pretty frustrated by the whole thing.
Frustrated is hardly the word I'd use. Incompetent, more like. Or worse.
How do you mean?
Well, let me put it this way. We've had 8 murders, and so far, Locke hasn't come up with a single piece of evidence we can follow up on. In fact, the only connection we can find between the girls is Locke himself.
A policeman who knows the people in his area? What a bastard. I'm sure Keys will solve the crimes after all. Anyway, whilst Locke and Keys are making friends, the prostitute who got dragged off the street earlier is tied to a bed. I say tied, she's stuck to the bed. Maybe this is that weird stuff that she would have to charge extra for. An awfully clean knife for someone who's just been stabbed 4 times. Anyway, the killer gets the saw next. He must want a refund. The next day, Locke arrives to find Keys is already there. I wonder if they'll start to get on now in this never tried before plot of 2 detectives from 2 different generations being paired together.
Old school.
Smug.
Is each one of these,
Location of a body. Yeah.
And what's this one?
You are here. Police station.
Less smug.
Don't suppose you saw the email I sent you?
Only just walked through the door, love.
Right. Just thought you might have picked it up on your phone. I was looking to see if...
That is the best joke I've seen in a film in a long time. Anyway, after that exchange, Locke leaves her to work in the archive while he goes off and does real police work without her rabbiting on. Then we're at a hospital where we meet 2 strange characters and a woman who doesn't want to talk. That's a first.
Now, let's try a little stimulation to the cerebrum. That ought to get you talking. Tell me your name. Okay, let's try a little more.
I wonder if that device has a reverse switch where if you switch it on, it makes people stop talking.
Cerebrum needs more power.
The machine doesn't appear to be working, so he ups the power. Will it make her talk, or will the constant shaking just make her top fall open? Well, that answers that question. They never get her name out of her. A joke that will always be topical, sadly. Anyway, Locke finds out that the hospital has been sold to a doctor and gives him a call. It just so happens to be the same doctor that tries to make women talk, the fucking weirdo. So he agrees to go and meet him. I wonder if the doctor will tidy up beforehand or at least switch some lights on. And it doesn't look like there's lights in the police station archive either. Where is this film set? The north?
But you do have patients here.
Yes, of course. But only the most hopeless cases. Those for whom any treatment may be considered a risk worth taking.
A risk?
Yeah. All psychotherapy is inherently risky. But my methods are far less intrusive.
Now, I'm no doctor, but shocking someone with PlayStation 2 graphics until their tits fall out I would consider that a bit intrusive. But anyway, do go on.
Can anybody not in control of their faculties truly be considered a criminal?
Never mind a doctor, he sounds like a lawyer for all our mass stabbers we have.
You have a suspect here at the hospital?
Possibly. One Annie Dyer.
It's impossible.
What makes you so sure?
Perhaps you would like to see our patient accommodation.
Looking at the rest of the hospital, I can't imagine the patient accommodation is up to much. But anyway, the doctor takes Locke to see the suspect who is behind bars with two spinning flashing lights. Spinning flashing lights which for some reason don't work when the camera is pointing at Locke. Oh dear.
Annie?
Are you okay?
Annie Dyer?
We are not Annie Dyer.
What?
We are not Annie Dyer.
Well, you look like Annie Dyer.
We are inside her.
Lucky you.
It turns out Annie isn't okay. She's been taken over by the Hellriser, and a gateway to hell is going to be opened up very soon. Is Locke and Key going to stop it just in time though?
Oh, you sound very powerful. Why don't you just break out of this hospital?
We need to be in this place. The gateway to the other world is here.
How convenient. Annie explains, very fucking slowly, that 10 must die before the gateway can be opened and that a 9th person is now dead. I wonder if it's Keys or if she's still down in the archive with a torch in her mouth.
Detective Locke's phone.
Turns out it's not Keys. She's very busy doing,
No. I've got a salad here, so I was thinking of having that and doing a bit of desk research.
probably best. While Keys is eating her salad and scrolling TikTok, the doctor brings Annie out to find out what she's told the policeman. Keys, meanwhile, is still back in the office looking at a Bible and seems confused by it. Probably all those long words. The pathologist explains that the bodies have all been killed in one place and then moved to where they could then be found. This confuses Keys, who is meant to be a trained police officer.
The girl was killed and dismembered, right there in the middle of the street, and no one noticed anything for 12 hours.
No.
Right, I see. Why would the killer move the bodies and then go to the risk of leaving them in such a public place?
I don't know.
I'll look into it. Thanks.
While she does her best thinking face, the doctor is still trying to get something out of Annie Dyer before he switches on his PS2 graphics shaking machine again.
This is impossible.
Ah, women, it's never enough. After the shocking treatment doesn't work, she gets sent off with the nurse to the shower, before inviting the nurse into the shower. Maybe she thinks she needs a wash. If you think you can guess what happens next, give yourself a point, because you'd be correct. Whilst they're playing Shower Twister, left hand clamshell, another body has been found. Watch out for the rubbish.
Dear God. I was only speaking to her last night.
Really? At what time?
Oi, what's this? You're questioning me?
No?
Are you making me a suspect? Are you in charge of the case?
Calm down. You're making a scene.
Oh, are you going to book me? Causing a disturbance?
Please, Detective. There's really no need for this. Look, the pathologist told me that in each of these cases, the victim was killed the day before the body was found. So if you saw that girl last night, it must have been around the time she was killed.
Time she was killed. You are! You are making me a suspect!
I do have to wonder why a prostitute would carry a Bible in her bag. A Bible identical to the one I found in your desk drawer this afternoon. and it might explain why this city has seen 9 murders in the space of a month and your investigation has accomplished nothing, sir.
After insinuating that he may be the killer, they both get into the car and Locke explains why he's a grumpy old bastard, all whilst police lights shine through the window despite it being the only car there.
What happened?
Something that made me question the very tenets of my faith. I was married then, and Ella, my daughter, she'd just turned 18. We were the perfect, God-fearing family. And then something happened. Almost overnight, it seemed.
To speed things up, as they clearly couldn't afford a flashback, his daughter got involved with dickheads, started rebelling, became a druggie, ended up a prosy, and then dead.
That's the last photo I had of her.
So, where do we go from here?
How caring. You've got a crime to solve, remember?
You know, if only we could predict the location, find some sort of pattern. We could save somebody's life. What else did she say?
I can't remember. I just thought she was ranting. She did say something about needing to be in this place, the hospital.
So the location of the hospital is also significant.
Come on, Locke, she told you that it was the portal to the Hellrisers or some shit.
According to the planning documents I found, Haworth Hospital was built on the site of some sort of stone circle.
How convenient. As Locke goes off to the hospital, Keyes goes back to the archive without putting 50p in the electric meter. All whilst Annie Dyer and Nurse Lesser communicate with laser eyes. I wish I was making this up. Keyes not only manages to find a big book of pagan rituals, she also finds something even more rare in this film, a room with a working light. Her boss then comes in, unhappy at how shit her and Locke are at their jobs.
And let me tell you this, there'll be hell to pay if there's another murder tonight.
Don't rush. Locke arrives to a door with a "Do Not Entry" sign on it, okay, whilst Keyes defaces a map trying to work out how she got here.
It's a pentagram. The location of the murders, they make up the shape of a pentagram.
What's the significance of that?
It's a pagan symbol, used in all kinds of witchcraft or black magic ceremonies, communicating with the dead, summoning demons, and the stone circle at Haworth Hospital is right in the centre of it.
Jesus Christ.
The pentagram showed me the location of the 10th murder. It's going to be at the city police station.
And where are you calling from?
Your office.
Oh, you daft cow.
Locke?
Keys!
That light didn't last long. Is Keyes about to be number 10 or will Locke save her? Watch out for Nurse Lesser. No more Keyes. Best get a new set. Plus, with her dead, she won't be able to comment on this review. Anyway, with the 10th person finally killed, the hell rising can begin, which means Annie Dyer now needs to be completely naked for some reason. I didn't make this film.
Dr. Eunsin, please, you've got to stop Annie Dyer. The entire world could be at stake.
With Locke tied up, the doctor sends off the orderly to find Annie Dyer, only to find the bars open, and I think he's about to see a bit more than what he was hoping for. Maybe. Unlucky. Now whilst Annie Dyer is undressing Nurse Lesser, Locke is being tied up on the PS2 graphics mime machine. Okay, let's get to the end. The Doctor gets lured in by the two naked women before having his face burned off in the fires of hell or something. Locke manages to escape, but he doesn't fall for their shit. No! He then sees his dead daughter, and then also realises that's also a trap. No! He then starts quoting from the Bible, which sends his pretend daughter and the two naked women back into hell.
And Satan left him!
The film ends with Locke back in his office having a word with his boss.
Well, that such a thing should have happened to her. I do hope you don't feel responsible.
No. It makes me wonder who assigned her to a case as dangerous as this in the first place.
Yes. Right, well, I want a full report, of course.
Well, that shut her up. Well done. The end. That film was actually quite enjoyable. Clearly, it was cheap. The two main characters were likeable, and there was a lot of good humour in it, particularly British humour, which is why it was more enjoyable than the two previous films we've watched from the last 20 years. Was it anything new? Not particularly, but it was still quite enjoyable. And it's definitely worth an hour and 15 minutes of your time if you can't be bothered to find Hellraiser or you're dyslexic and can't spell Hellraiser. Anyway, next week is the last week of British films before we piss off to Turkey for a film we've been waiting to do for quite some time. Until next time, ta-ta for now. Remember, stay away from prostitutes and female detectives. You okay? Did you enjoy it? That will be a yes. If you're in a better mood than Mystery Ming today, you can always buy us a cuppa on Ko-fi. The link's in the description below, and thank you in advance if you do.